Well, Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has been attacked while campaigning in Copenhagen. Police have arrested a man allegedly involved in the assault, but believe it was not politically motivated. It's just the latest in a series of attacks on politicians in Europe.
Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen was hit by a man while campaigning with a colleague for the European elections on this square in Copenhagen.
I think it happened somewhere over here because she was coming from this side and then she sat down just very briefly and she didn't have a chance to sit before she was escorted away. The 4 PET guys showed up, talked about an arrest has been made, and then she was escorted by the 4 PETs to some place around in the middle of the square and then escorted just away around the corner.
Police have confirmed that a 39-year-old man was arrested. Charles Michel, President of the European Council, condemned what he called a cowardly act of aggression. Violence against politicians has become a theme in the run-up to the EU elections, which are currently underway. Several politicians in Germany have been assaulted recently, including a member of the Greens and a social democrat who was beaten so badly as he was putting up campaign posters that he needed surgery. Polling in Slovakia began on Saturday morning, but voting there has been overshadowed by an attempt last month to assassinate Prime Minister Robert Fico. This string of attacks has impacted the atmosphere surrounding the EU parliamentary elections, raising concerns of a threat to democracy across the bloc.
And joining me in the studio for more on this is DW's political correspondent Thomas Sparrow. So it really does seem like there's an increase in these sorts of attacks on politicians across Europe. What kind of an impact is it having on the European Parliament election underway right now?
It is unclear what kind of impact it may have on the results, but it is clear, or at least it seems clear, that it's having an impact on the topics that are being discussed, on the way the campaigns are being managed, because this European Parliament election, and that is clear in several countries, has not only been based on topics that are being discussed, whether it is migration or climate change or the economic situation. It's also about the mood that many people are feeling across the 27 member states. There have been some analysis stating that there seems to be a geography of discontent among the European Union member states. And these kinds of assaults, these kinds of attacks are an extreme way in which certain people may be showing that degree of discontent. So what it may be affecting more than the actual results, which we will begin to see on Sunday, is the actual mood in several European countries ahead of the vote. This is something that does seem to be clear indeed.
Well, we do have to mention the fact that in the past there's been a lot of, well, we can just call it apathy among voters when it comes to these parliamentary elections for the EU. Why are these elections significant?
Well, and in fact, there are European Union officials that have also stated in the past that maybe they should have explained more clearly to Europeans what the European Union actually does, how it works, how people might benefit from the European Union locally and nationally. And in fact, in previous European Parliament elections, 2019, for example, the turnout was around 50%, which was higher than in previous elections or elections before that. But according to European officials, it is still not enough, and they would like more people to actually go to the polls. And it's important to stress that these European Parliament elections are important. The European Parliament plays a role in laws that are passed that affect Europeans, in the election of the European Commission President, in all sorts of things that are actually vital for the functioning of the European Union as a whole.
DW's political correspondent Thomas Sparrow. Thomas, always great to get your insights.